how's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Shoefinger with us. He can say his name and what he does in the band.
I'm Shoefinger, aka my name is Fernando. I am the only person in Shoefinger. It's just me and a computer, some guitars, some basses, instruments like that, and other stuff we're not named.
I feel that. That's a total vibe. I want to give a shout outs what we were talking about earlier. Shouts to the standards, fruit posting. I love my boy Marcos. He's the
Yeah, shout
man.
out to Sanders for posting.
Send out to them. But obviously, Fernando, I have to ask, how did you start writing music? I know it's kind of, I would consider this like a solo project kind of thing. Like, so,
Yeah.
what got you inspired to like, write the music you're writing now? Is your like family real musical? And so you kind of like just grew up around music. Just tell me your story, your origin
Um,
story.
I do have a pretty musical family. Well, I was born in Mexico, in Tijuana, Mexico. I was raised in Southern California by Mexican parents, and they mostly played like they're musical in the sense that my dad is really good at dancing and stuff like that. My mom likes music to an extent, but none of them are musicians really. There's no musicians in my family. Everyone really always wanted to get me to dance, but that didn't come till much later until I had the confidence to do that. But yeah, I picked up the guitar when I was like 12 or 13 or so. Before that, I got signed up for lessons for keyboard lessons, classical piano
Mm-hmm.
lessons when I was 5 or 6. I had just come to the U.S. Probably I was in maybe second grade, third grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I did like 5 years of classical piano. Uh, I remember pretty much nothing.
That's true. I feel like when you're a
and
kid, you don't remember any of that stuff.
I remember still kind of like I learned how to read music enough that I didn't forget it.
Sure, yeah.
So I knew how to read like treble clef at least. Uh, and I remember how to play the Super Mario song. Perfection, like not a note wrong. Everything else, like, yeah, I have no idea. But I was taking piano lessons from this very strict Spanish lady in a random building in suburbia. Uh, and next door there was a guy teaching guitar. I was teaching electric guitar and classical guitar, depending on the student. And I thought it sounded way cooler than what I was doing because I was just really doing like the most boring, like chromatic scales, like not even scales, just like finger exercises
Yeah,
half the
yeah.
time. So I was like, that sounds much cooler. And so I got my mom to get me like a classical guitar,
Mm-hmm.
like at that same shop because I really sold it right there. It was just an excuse to take lessons with the guy. And I took one lesson and hated him. He was a terrible guy. I really did not like the way he was teaching. He was just a really good player, but he did not really know how to teach at all. He didn't really want to teach me anything that I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So I took my guitar, I went home and looked on my little iPod Touch. I just watched YouTube like tutorials and did that for like 7 years and did not stop. Uh, Basically until I got into high school, and then I was in like bands with my friends. And I went to Catholic school, so I was in the church band.
Yeah.
Uh, playing worship songs, and then I went to college. I went to University of California, Davis. And I was in some jazz ensembles and stuff like that. Uh, all the while, you know, I had like solos going on constantly. And back in the day when I first started recording, the first time I started recording was on an iPad that had GarageBand on it, and it just had like an iRig
Yeah.
plugged straight in. It sounded terrible. I uploaded everything straight to SoundCloud. Uh, it was like I didn't even really promote it or anything. Like my close friends happened to see it, but like I didn't. It wasn't really for anyone. It was just so that I could put out a finished product and compare it to other people's
Yeah.
music and see like does this sound even remotely good? Is there anything salvageable here? And I just kept doing that, and it sounded like trash for a really long time. So yeah, I have. That's the thing. As what I think that separates me from most of like the people who are doing kind of what I'm doing is that I've been producing and engineering for almost as long as I've been playing guitar,
That's awesome.
which is like 12 or 13 years. Like almost 2 or 3 years in, I was just like, I have to get this down. Which like I was very confident in like my ideas, which are not that good, but I just felt like I really needed to get them down, even if it was just. Um, but eventually that turned into Fruity Loops, into Ableton, uh, and I always was doing kind of like synthy stuff on the side because I went to school for computer science,
Oh,
kind of,
nice.
and it was more like AI. So the intersection of computer science and neuroscience. I was really into AI music. I was really into building synths, building guitar pedals, stuff like that. Really got me into the more experimental, like noisier side of music and like synthier stuff and like electronic music. That definitely has been a huge, just as much of an influence in like the more classic rock and like blues people and stuff like that, especially recently.
No, yeah. I feel like because I checked out your stuff, which I was like, this feels like I'm gonna butcher his name, but it feels very reminiscent of like Ichiga, the I don't know the
Oh,
guy who play,
Ishika,
yeah.
Ishikawa,
It
yeah.
definitely reminds me like on that same like wavelength of like music. Like I know he kind of has like his production. And he also has like some nice like synth or like some he. It's not just like a plain
Yeah,
guitar track, and
yeah, because that can kind of get boring to me. Just because like that's well, like I like making that music. Like I don't mind at all just putting a recorder down and just noodling on guitar for like 40 minutes. But I'm not gonna put that out as like music.
sure,
It might sound really good at the time. I the music that I actually listen to is usually like very like a lot of thought is put into it and a lot of like production is put into it. And I listen to a lot of like orchestrated
sure,
electronic music like IBM and shit like that, Aphex Twin and Floating Points, Fortet. Uh, People who put a lot of detail into their like electronic performances and like the production aspect. So I never wanted to put out a guitar album, just a good music album with guitar as like the main instrument or like the thing that everything's based
oh, 100%. That I
on.
mean
And
like
Ichigo does that very well too. Yeah.
no, I feel like your stuff like again has that sort of like if you didn't tell me you were like influenced by electronic music, I could have probably guessed that because like the
Yeah.
production of it's like super tight and like everything in terms of like guitar work you can like hear pretty well, like very well, and I think it kind of like brings everything together, which I really appreciate as being like a guitar player myself. Like I that's something that I gravitate towards, and so like for me, like when I'm listening to other stuff and like albums and EPs and singles and stuff, I'm always like, man, like where does this guitar sit and stuff, and I feel like almost in a certain aspect, like the way that you have written like the guitar parts, it does feel very like vocal esque, if that makes sense. Like it does
Yeah, I
have that
mean
like vocal quality to it, you know?
that's always been like retro analyzing like the musicians that I like and the yeah my influences are always people who play their guitar, not like the guitar that it is, but kind of just like play the vocal role. So like guitarists that I really respected when I first came up was like Carlos Santana,
Yeah,
uh, 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 Al Di Meola,
yeah,
Pat Metheny, John McLaughlin, people with whose like vocal like I guess like for people, especially like John McLaughlin, you could make your guitar sound like a violin. You could make it sound like a sitar. You could
yeah.
make it sound like a banjo. You could to making your guitar sound like not a guitar. I think was the goal for me and for like people. But, like Carlos Santana wanted to play like wanted his play to sound like John Coltrane,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, damn. I mean, I guess that it kind of does. Like his like the way that he uses the specific like his the specific modes and stuff that he uses is just straight from Coltrane stuff. So when I was learning Carlos Santana, I was kind of indirectly learning Coltrane licks, which I did not even get into until like 8 or 9 years ago when I was in like college doing like Sonny Rollins ensemble. Uh, yeah.
No, I definitely feel that, and like I don't know if this. I mean, I'm sure you'll probably take it as a compliment too, but like definitely like what Aaron Marshall of Intervals is kind of doing, like with his more
I
current
love
stuff.
that man.
like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, he's my hero.
as soon as I was like listening to your stuff, I was like, yeah, this feels like very Intervals. As obviously it's not like exact one for one, but like I could
Yeah.
definitely tell as being like a guitar player, I was like, this feels like very Aaron Marshall inspired, and he's go check out Intervals if you haven't already. But
Yeah, the I think it's the first Intervals album. Was it The Shape of Color? Uh,
yeah, that was one of
that
his
is
first
like
EPs.
that is like my one of my top five albums any genre ever.
Yeah,
Just
like
like the phrasing, the guitar phrasing, and like uh, yeah, it just don't even sound like a guitar sometimes. It just sounds like um, the melody doesn't even sound like a specific instrument. It's just like the guitar sounds like yeah,
yeah, no, it definitely has like a voice, like a vocal, like melodic quality to it, which I love.
part of it is also just like the slide runs, and I've been noticing that people uh, like the Polyphia guys, Sean and
Mm-hmm.
Aaron do that a lot. It's just like these insane slide runs where like if I practice them for too long, my fingers will get like actually cut open.
Cut
There will
off,
be
yeah,
blood.
yeah.
There will be blood all over my string if I practice for long. And I'm like, did the guys go through this too? Like, do I just have like, am I this weak?
They just have steel fingers tips, you know.
Well, I also have very high gauge strings,
Okay, yeah.
so that's probably
It's
why.
like cut it is like playing with sandpaper, you know.
Yeah, when I was like 14, I heard that CD Ray Vaughan used like extremely high rate gauge strings. So I was like, okay, I gotta do that. Slaps like 11s on when I had been playing guitar for like 3 years.
Oh, that must have
But
sucked.
I mean, I got used to it. I went up to 12s for a while, and then I came back down to Earths because it was too much.
I'm glad you realized that, because I would have been very worried if you were playing that type of
Yeah,
music with.
what I was using at the peak of my like tippity tappity TTNG phase in like my freshman year of college, so like 2014,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, fall 2014, 2015. I was using 12s and tapping, doing TTNG songs and like Piglet songs.
You
Yeah,
paid for it for sure.
well, yeah, it's because I used to always like play at gigs, and I was underage, but it was at like a local establishment. It was a bar, and because I was playing guitar, people would buy me drinks all the time, even though I was underage. Like obviously, this is not. I'm not going to name the establishment, but I knew every time I was going to get blitzed, so it did not matter to me how heavy my guitar bass strings are, because it was like I was.
You did, it didn't matter to you. You were just like you were
It
vibing.
did not matter. They could have been like railroad tracks. I would have left them. Like,
They could have been like barbed wire, pretty much. Fernando would have still shredded it. That's sick.
yeah.
I do have a question to ask about the name, because I this is when you were like, yeah, my band's Shoefinger. I was like, what is a Shoefinger? Why did you come up with that? Like, I was just like, what inspired that?
uh, well, this was in college as well. I think my freshman year too. Uh, my first language is Spanish, so sometimes I learned English when I was like 5. Uh, but I'm pretty fluent. Sometimes I'll just like, especially when I'm muted, sometimes just like a single word that I know usually will escape me forever, and there's no way for me to get that word back unless someone tells it to me. Even if it's a very basic word. And I forgot how to. I was talking about my toes, and I could not remember. Or, I could not remember for the love of God what the word for toe was. So I was like, yeah, my shoe finger. And yeah, I was never able to live that down. So even if I had tried to forget that I said that,
You said
nobody
it.
would. Nobody
now
would let me forget it.
now it's just
Most
your
people in my
now
group,
it's now
especially.
you're just promoting it to everybody that that's your
Yeah,
band
so
name.
I have to embrace it. I feel like it's a dumb story for a silly name, and that's how every band gets their name. So
It could be worse. I feel like
it could be a lot worse.
you could have picked a way worse band name, but I love it because it's something I feel like I'll definitely remember. Like
Yeah,
especially the
that's all I
story,
noticed.
you
I
know.
also like just grew up on bands that were really weird.
Yeah,
Like especially again going back to the like learning English as a second language in the US and like learning English at the same time I was like listening to new music. Or like I was listening to a lot of like Linkin Park and sometimes I had absolutely no idea. And like also like Linkin Park, like what is like, and just like I don't know, the Foo Fighters.
yeah.
Okay.
What's
That means
that?
absolutely
Yeah.
nothing to me. So I had no problem calling myself Shoefinger. I was like, if the Foo Fighters can, fight Foo, I can finger shoes. There you
I don't. We're gonna leave that be. Like let that go. That's out there. But the next question, Fernando, keeping it, I feel like you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I feel like a direct answer is always good too. Who are you influenced by? I know you kind of talked broadly about who you're influenced by, but like who influences your playing like more currently that you're like, man, I don't know what I would do without this like band or solo act that I'm like this really influences Shoe Fingers now.
Well, I'd say I did bring him up earlier, but Sam Floating Points, he's an electronic musician who I really like. He just put out an album with Pharoah Sanders,
Nice.
jazz saxophonist. That is really good. Everyone should check that out. He has this album called Crush that I really like. He just has a really cool way of orchestrating electronic music in a way that doesn't sound electronic, really. It sounds more like like an orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
like a live session because he brings in musicians to play every instrument, maybe not necessarily all at the same time, but and he's playing like Moog synths over it and like drum modular drum synths and stuff like that. Something that I definitely want to get more into. Um, that's for the electronic side. For the guitar side, and people like him and Fortet and Burial,
Nice.
uh, that style of like electronic music, kind of ambient, jungly, very percussive electronic music is something a style that I try to emulate in my music. Uh, on the guitar side, you got your math rock people, obviously, like people like Yvette Young, Marcos Mena from Standards. Um, the guy from Terra Nullius, I can't remember his name, Nick Reinhardt. Uh, mm, Tigran Hamasyan, I've been listening
Yeah.
to a lot of Tigran. Just like, I mean, I've been a fan of his for a long time, but just like it's become obsessive. Like just transcribing like solo after solo to just get it in my brain. Sometimes I don't even play it on guitar. I just like stare at it on the screen. And I'm just like, yeah, that's so cool. How did you go with that? Yeah, I've been listening to a decent amount of like metal and heavier stuff to Mastodon,
Nice.
uh, Necrophagist, I think that's how you say it. Some death metal stuff. Uh, I got some random death metal vinyl from a local store that I haven't even finished listening to, but I for some reason I've been on that kick. And learning Necrophagist parts Learning is subjective because if you were on the outside looking in, I'm not learning. I'm trying.
No, I feel like from what I've listened to, because you sent me your link tree, I went to go check out a few of your tracks on YouTube, which everybody should go check out. I'll leave links in the description. But I was like I said, I was really impressed because like just kind of like the whole production of what you do. It wasn't like I was listening to it because I like knew that you were a guitar player, and I was like, oh yeah, guitars, love guitars, love listening to that sort of stuff. And then I went in and I was kind of like, I was like, what is Shoefingers gonna sound like? I was like, you
Yeah,
really can't place it, And so like certain bands, you feel like you're like, yeah, I know what they're gonna sound like, kind of.
based on like the name. I mean, when bands name themselves like the sunken fall of forbidden treasure under the sea, 1462. You know it's gonna be either like some like weird witch house or like metal.
Yeah, it's gonna
and
be like
like
symphonic
and
metal.
there's gonna be either a breakdown or like a Nazi salute, and you have to go 50-50.
I feel like if you had that band name, you'd be like a symphonic metal band or something.
Yes, yeah. If I had the same, if Shoefinger was metal, it would be well. I actually have one Bandcamp only EP that I put out that I just I had a couple like noise sets where it was just like me messing around with
Mm.
modular synths, like noise tracks, and I played like really brutal like black metal guitar drenched in reverb over it.
Oh, nice.
I think that project is how a whole metal Shoefinger project would sound. Extremely ambient, just drenched in reverb, but with just a layer of extremely like crunchy, harsh noise, like walls and like uh, stuff like that. But it would, yeah, I think so.
You can expect that
I,
from Shoefinger
I think
coming soon.
you can definitely expect that when I'm feeling sad and I have nothing else to do. Um,
Maybe you'll see it.
I'll work on those. I'll work on those tracks.
There we go. Well, that's we want to hear here at Audio Addiction. But like, I was like I said, I was kind of impressed at the whole production and stuff. I was able to listen to like a couple different tracks because they were like, like roughly sitting between like 30 seconds and like a minute ish, and they're easily digestible. I feel like for me, like when I'm listening to a bunch of different stuff, I'm like, can I listen to all of it,
Yeah.
and so I felt like with your stuff, I was like, oh, I can just breeze through like a couple different songs, and I was like, this is sick. So I was all about that. For people who maybe aren't familiar with Shoefingers and they're like, man, I like what Fernando's doing here. What track would you like recommend? Whether it be like one of those YouTube videos or like something in your on your Bandcamp or something that you have that you're like this is Shoefingers to a T kind of a thing.
Well, if you want to look on YouTube, I would say it depends. If you're a more classical math rock nerd, I'd say look at my Hydra cover, my cover covers. People seem to love that one. A lot more than I said. And if you like mixtures of like beats and like hip hop and stuff with that kind of style, Embers seems to get a lot of traction. So I'm just boosting my two most popular videos.
Listen, that's what you got to do here. That's what I expect you to do here on Audio Addiction. If you don't do that, head out. You're out. No, I checked out Embers and I was like, I'm like all about like lo-fi recently, like, and so I felt like you nailed that kind of like chill ambient vibey sort of stuff, and
Yeah,
then
I
guitar
I like
work was
the
great too as well.
I like I like the like trap stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I used to do that a lot when I used to like sell beats. I used to just make like kind of conventional trap beats and like put some like random tippy tappy guitar on them, but like kind of bury it in the mix so it's not like very evident.
Yeah.
Uh, and nobody ever noticed. Uh, but so I was like, what if I just did this and made the tippy tappy a little louder and more like complex in the
Yeah.
frontal part of the song, and then that's how stuff like Everest came about. Um, Nowadays, like I'm just such a nerd right now when it comes to like composition that it's hard for me to make like such straightforward hip hop and trap beats like I used to,
Yeah.
just because like I default to like the the mindset that I was in when I was younger, just like okay, kick, hi hat, snare, like import, do this. This is the one that I use for this, and then I do this, and then I have all my presets. So I'm not like innovating, or I'm not like out of my comfort zone when doing stuff like that, which is why there's not that much of that style, like the lo-fi. I also just kind of like see that on Instagram constantly.
Yeah.
It's just people playing guitar over like lo-fi vinyl, like hip hop 24/7, chilled cow beats, and that's not really what I want to do, but it does help grow your page.
Oh,
So
100%.
I feel like every once in a while you just gotta
You
like
gotta throw a little bone out there.
make make trap beat, tappity tap over it. Instagram will love it, and then you can go back to doing what you like to.
I I feel that on an emotional level. That's me. That's me with reaction videos. I'm like, I can't. I really don't. Not that I don't like doing them because I feel like I've grown an affinity for them. But like when I first started doing them, I was like, nah, this I can't. I had to, like, I'll let people in on a little secret is that like I did like a couple different videos before I like posted the one I wanted to do, and I was just like, it doesn't feel right to me. Like, but I'm also like, people eat that shit up, you know. So, so
Yeah.
I threw it
Yeah,
out
it
there.
has to. You have to draw a line between stuff that you know that people will eat up, and also stuff that will make you feel soulless.
Yeah,
But there are some things that like to other people might make them feel soulless and like they're selling out. To you might like be fun. Like I see people doing like the music review thing all the time, and I love watching that. I love watching like Fantano and like that whole sphere of
yeah,
music review stuff, and I think that'd be really fun. Uh, but like when I even think about like just talking about my own music in front of a camera, what am I still out?
uh,
Like, no, let me tell you about this obscure black metal cassette that I got off the dark web.
I feel that. Listen. You don't have to tell me, Fernando. I literally am living that right now. So I totally totally understand that. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you
My most
wind up doing it, you know, you should
Yeah,
do it.
I do like doing it, and sometimes I just like miss making beats. So sometimes I'll just incorporate something that I would use, and I just have hella old beats, just like in like hard drives with just old beats that I just bring into whatever songs that I'm working in sometimes, and just sample like micro sample stuff like that, just to like give it new life. So it's not all in the past. So like anything that I put out, anything that I record, eventually gets used in a different way.
And that's good.
Just because, yeah, just because I mean, I have everything accessible. It's just like drag and drop, like transpose, see if it'll work. If not, but I mean, that's my workflow usually. It's just I have an idea, and then I see what I have that already in terms of like samples, old songs. I have so many like loops and drum packs and stuff like that. That it's honestly sometimes it's just like
So much.
this
You gotta
guy, this guy, this
close your
song, this
eyes and
guy.
click one and just. I got you.
um, I recently got the XLN audio plugin
Oh, nice.
XO,
Okay.
uh, and that really has helped actually with like drum patterns and stuff like that because uh, like it shows you like a map in terms of sound of all of your samples and it's like similarity between your samples and I just have like hundreds of thousands of wave files on my computer and I have no idea what like the difference between like perk two and like perk two underscore is, and so I click on it. But it's like if I see it in like it's in like a cloud, and you just like drag through, you hear what they all sound like, and it has a sequencer. You can just boop boop, and it kind of reminds me of the Fruity Loops workflow with the
Yeah.
sequencer, which I loved, and it was the reason that I refused to switch from Fruity Loops for a while, was just because I had literally just the sequencer. Everything else was a pain in the ass. But and I couldn't really make the music I wanted. It was just I loved pressing the little buttons to make the sequence. I had instant drums. Um, but I was like, I just had to wean myself off that. I was like, okay, I know it's good, but this thing is a lot better. Not to anger the FL fans.
No, I think you like get better at doing stuff, obviously, and like what you find like hard originally, now is like second nature. So I
Yeah,
I totally feel that in like recycling stuff, and I'm glad that you like wind up using it eventually, because I feel like you always hear about people using like B-sides and stuff, and you always like wonder if they ever get released or not. So
yeah. Usually, like if I record it, if it's worth recording, it's worth like using again in different contexts. Even sometimes I just like go back, even if it's something that sounds terrible, something that was recorded like with my guitar out of tune, or from like a cable, from a synth with a cable that wasn't working, or something like that. Something that just sounds janky. Just put like a granular delay on it and just like chop it up like it sounds weird, and just like transpose it to whatever key you're in. And it sounds good usually. If it doesn't, just keep chopping it up until it does. And that's how you get good at sampling. It's just like you have two samples, make it work.
yeah.
Just like limiting yourself. That's why people who were, I think, at least I think, that's why people who were like the great samplers of the 90s were so good, because they just had like their vinyl records that they bought at the store to work with, and they had like three songs on each side, and you have to get your sample from whatever that is. It's like you don't have the entire internet to scour for the exact sample that you're looking for. You just have to take what you have and chop it up, so make it so disfigured that it actually fits whatever you're looking for. And that, I think, is something that adds to your song in a way that nothing else does.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh. So go check out go check out Shoefinger. I feel like I've said it enough, but like go check it out. But the next question, Fernando, keeping it interesting. If you were to have a guest feature on your next record, and like a producer you would want to work with on your like and Fernando's dream team of musical people, who would you want to have on your team?
First things first, I'd like to say Thundercat on bass. No matter everyone else, we can figure that out later. But first things first, I'd like to get Thundercat on bass. Uh, Maybe some production assistance by someone else in Brain Feeder. Uh, I really like Flylo obviously, but what's his name? Daedalus and Martin are two Brain Feeder producers that I really like. Um, Martin makes kind of more electronic music, more like tech house kind of stuff. Daedalus is a little more like just like oddball experimental stuff. But both of those producers I would really like to work with, and also Flylo. Um, Stone's Throw people like Mindsign and Knowledge.
Oh, okay.
Uh, Especially, Knowledge is one of my favorite producers. Uh, I think that if I could just get like what people used to do in the 80s and 90s for hip hop records, where they would just get a dream team of producers, of like just like 4 or 5 producers, and they would just be like, uh, I don't know, yeah, someone like the Count,
Oh,
like from modern day to be someone like the Count or like Illmind or someone who's at the top, or like Kenny Beats, someone who's at the top of the game right now. Someone from like Stone's Throw, like Montana Knowledge, uh, Brain Theater, like Davis or Martin or Flylo. Uh, that would be like my producer dream team. And then I would get just like musicians that I respect if I have like that kind of. I'd definitely get Thundercat. I'd get guitarists. Would love to have Yvette Young on a song, even if she didn't play guitar, like a piano feature, a violin feature, whatever you got.
She's got it all. So
Yeah. We mentioned Aaron Marshall earlier, but an Aaron Marshall feature would be insane. Yeah, I couldn't even fathom. I have I'd have to put. I feel like I'd have to make like a hyper pop song
ooh.
and throw a random wild Aaron Marshall solo in, just like halfway through. But like with like the Sophie snares, that sounds like you're like hitting a trash can really hard.
That'd be tight.
And just like suddenly, I think that'd be really cool.
There we go. Well, if you guys want to get in on the action, you know what you do. You go on the internet, you type on Twitter, you make sure to type in Thundercat, you make sure to type in Shoefinger, you make sure to type in Aaron Marshall,
At,
and
at
Kenny Beats.
Thundercat in all of my Instagram posts. Just over and over and over. Also at Brain Fever Records.
There we go. Kenny Beats, Yvette Young,
especially at Kenny Beats.
Especially at Kenny Beats. Make sure to throw that love to Fernando, my guy here. So, listen, we can make magical things happen on the internet. So, I expect nothing less from the Audio Addiction fam here. So, you better do me a solid here. But the next question, Fernando, another fun one. Favorite food to eat? What's your go-to?
Are we talking about snacks or like a meal?
Give me like a snack and a meal.
Okay. In terms of snacks, I really like just like the limon lays, just the green lays.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for those. Just because I also just like having at my bodega, so I can just walk down the block and get a family size thing of them. And my stomach does not like that. For a meal, I really love just like fancy ramen with an egg on it. That's like my go to like if I'm sick, if I'm sad, if anything at all is really good. Yeah, if it's raining, if it's raining like on the inside.
It's the comfort food of the century.
Yeah, and like just also like Mexican food in general. Like I was raised on enfrijoladas and enchiladas, chilaquiles in the morning, chorizo on anything.
That's true.
Yeah, my favorite, I think, American use of chorizo is the chorizo burger. I've had like just an American beef patty burger with also like a chorizo sausage puppy there. It's like, holy, this is something else. Yeah, those would be my picks.
There we go. Next question, Fernando. My personal favorite. You kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, so I'm excited how you're going to answer it because I'm a nerd and I love asking it. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
I would be Link in Ocarina of Time.
Oh, classic. I'm all about that.
I think just because I feel like I've played that game so many times from his perspective that I feel like it's already a done deal. Like I've already lived his life. I've already done all there is to do as Link, so I would already be good at it. So if you put me in that scenario, like, I know all the buttons that do everything. I know like what bases I have to smash to get all the things that I want. So I already have the whole game beat.
You got it mapped out.
And I could just start it out.
That was very methodical. You know, listen,
Yeah.
I love that because I'm a big Nintendo fan, so I feel like you hit the soft spot in my life, Fernando.
The other, because like my only other option, the only video game I play nowadays is Rocket League, and there's no character. So I mean, I guess I am the car,
You're the car.
or because I'm definitely not the ball. Yeah, I don't think that works.
There we go. Well, Fernando is Link from Ocarina of Time in the Rocket League car. So
Oh, that'd be sick.
there you go. Listen, he's like half hanging out with his like master sword. Listen.
That would make demos a lot easier if I could just slash people from the edge of my car and their car blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Inspired,
be
inspired.
crazy.
Nintendo. Don't take my
I
idea.
I can make that happen. I could just hack the game on my own. Put a little link on it.
There we
Just
go.
like, it would only be visible to me, and I would think that I had demo people, and it would just glitch out and crash my game. It'll be really cool.
Well, you guys can expect Fernando to be Link from Ocarina of Time in a Rocket League car. So that's all you need to know.
Or for Halloween at your local establishment.
There we go. Well, that's what. Listen, if that happens in real life, I need to see that, Fernando. Okay. Next question, Fernando. Another fun one, music related, of course. That's why you're on here. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it? Obviously, you're on it. I feel like I have to say that.
Yeah. First choice would have to be me.
Very modest,
Yeah, let's see. Tour. Who would be? Because I have to think about not just like whose music I wouldn't get tired of hearing all the time, but also who would be a decent enough person that I could go with on tour and like, not hate them. I feel like, well, I mentioned Thundercat already, but I feel like we would like get into fights, but we would still be friends. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we would like I would have to wrestle him all the time just to keep the friendship up. And I feel like like when you're on a tour, that's not too far from the reality.
I would agree.
So I think he would be okay. I'm trying to think of who else would be good. I mean, honestly, I don't mind. I'm not hard to get along with. I'll tour with anyone whose music I respect. I have no problem with small enclosed spaces or smoke.
I feel like since we were talking earlier about the fruity posting, Marcos, listen, give my man,
I would definitely. I would tour with Standards, no question.
I feel like that'd be tight. I'd be about that. Throw Covet in there. Thundercat, listen. I'm already setting it up, guys. If you want to make this happen, we already told you to add Thundercat already, so you already know you gotta double time it. Now.
At Tall Man Smolder.
I feel like Covet might be. I don't know if Covet and Standards have toured together, but I feel like that's something that should happen.
I'm not
if it
sure. I saw Covet open for Chan.
Yes.
And that was an amazing show. Even though I didn't catch the first song, I think I missed the first song. That was a really really cool set because Covet was just like people were headbanging and moshing to Covet.
Yeah.
And they were the opener. So I knew I was in for it. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna like hit my head against the guardrail when Sean comes on for sure.
It's crazy because I listen to like a lot of instrumental music, but I always think like because I'll videotape when we go to shows and stuff, like I'd videotape them, and I just never think like, man, Sean, I expect some moshing from them. So every time like a pit breaks open, I'm like I'm kind of like what?
I turn all GPS off. I just dive head first.
You just know it's coming. Yeah, and you just get in there. Yeah. I got you. Well, hopefully it'll be back to obviously doing shows soon. You know, we all hope that happens. But speaking about, you know, we were just talking about dream tours and stuff. Like, who do you think puts on a great live performance, and who's a band you want to see once things kind of get a little bit better, like once tours start coming around and stuff.
Well, I mean, I just want to see live music in general. I mean, I live in Oakland, and around Lake Marriott, you get to see like random jazz ensembles and
Mm-hmm.
just like drum circles and stuff still. So yeah, I haven't completely been missing out on that element, but I still like wouldn't join the drum circle because nobody's wearing masks. We're all passing around the same blunt, and I want the
uh,
blunt, but I don't. um, you know, but who put on a good performance? I've seen a couple of really, really just amazing performers. Um, one show that sticks out to me was Maps and Atlases, and um, who was opening for them? It was a post rock band from Ireland. It's two guys. One of them plays guitar, one of them plays bass.
hmm.
Uh, I can't remember the name. That show was really, really cool. And then I saw in SF like 4 years ago, I think 3 years ago, I saw the band The Deer Hunter with
Ooh,
the SF Orchestra, uh, and it was a pretty small show. It was honestly mostly Casey from the Deer Hunter
yeah.
in a huge orchestra. But those songs, like just like the small theater, the like whole row of violins with the Deer Hunter songs that I know, that
Ooh,
show was mind blowing. Yeah, that was different. Also, um, formative sets. Uh, the Fox Theater in Oakland, 3 years ago. Thundercat, Flying Lotus in 3D,
ooh.
uh, and Parliament Funkadelic.
That sounds like a sick lineup.
Yeah, just like back to back. Yeah.
That would have been cool to go to.
Yeah.
I feel like I severely missed out on something like that. You know, I feel like it came right in my backyard, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Also,
go to this.
yeah. Also, Parliament Funkadelic were playing Kendrick songs. That's the kind of atmosphere. Like the floor was shaking and vibrating.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty. I wouldn't. I feel like that would. I feel like if there was anything less, like I would be upset. Like if that
yeah.
didn't happen, I'd be like, "Yo, what are you guys doing?" Like, you know, I feel like that's the type of stuff that I would assume just like shakes the entire room. You know, like the
Yeah,
venue.
but honestly, I also feel like I have to shout out like shitty performers too, because that has a lot of charm too. Because like when I was in Davis in college, I saw a lot of just like shitty bands with like very drunk people like barely playing their songs right. But I mean, I was also like I wasn't expecting anything more than that. I was moshing with a backpack full of beer. You know, obviously I don't have any care. I don't have a care in the world. Um, I don't feel like I don't need a band to be good to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
If they have good band energy, that's good enough for me. If they're confident, if they're throwing their instruments around, if they're screaming, it doesn't have to be good screaming really. I just like the I just like the energy of the show, and as long as I'm not the only one who kind of gets it,
Then
yeah.
that's the best part. I feel like when you see a band that's just like super loose up there, it's just something about it that just is like simultaneously like, what the hell are you doing? And also like, I don't know how you're doing it, so continue doing it. Like,
Yeah, because I love the really technical stuff, but sometimes when I watch like math when I see math rock shows, I end up not dancing and just like staring
oh,
at like
100%.
the fingers because I'm just like in awe. But because like sometimes they're and like I'm just like trying to follow the fingers as they're like moving around and stuff. or like looking at their pedal board, and like after a certain while, I'm like, okay, this isn't as fun as if I was just watching some random punks like light their beards on fire and like scream gurgling,
I
you know.
agree. Like I feel like
But
I also feel like that's like the guitarist in us, you know. I don't know, like I feel like guitar
I feel
people,
like I
they're
hyper
like,
focus sometimes,
yeah,
yeah, and it gets in
oh,
the way.
they're like, what pedal do you use? Okay, he used this one. Okay, cool, I like that. Like, what
I
guitar is
have
he
to
using?
set my I have to set my mind on it, especially at like charm shows. To be like, Mario Camarena is soloing right in front of me. Why am I looking at his like MXR Phase 90 like 9-volt adapter? Like,
Like, man, this is
just
great. I never thought about that.
damn,
Like,
what kind of power bank is he using?
I feel like a lot of guitar players just like they just look at the gear because we're like all gearheads kind of in certain aspects, you know? Like,
Yeah, and also especially me who's just like was into like building shit. Like I got way too into like the finer
the
details
finer,
of
yeah.
like pedals and stuff like that, and I got into it way too early. Like as soon as I started playing guitar, and that was the first time I also had like internet access really, uh, at my home computer. So I was on all the pedal forums arguing with like the 60-year-old boomers about like true bypass versus non-true bypass, as if I was buying like ridiculous $200 pedals. I was really just getting like Behringer pedals off of eBay, but being like, and then going onto the forums and being like, yeah, this sounds as good as your Claw Centaur. Fuck you.
Oh man, that is one of the best trolls I've ever heard. Great work,
um,
Fernando. Oh my god, that's
yeah,
wonderful.
that's Shoefinger energy. If anyone asks.
That's listen, I'm all about that energy, you know. I stand with Fernando on that type of energy, you know. I feel like sometimes the boomers need a little, put them into
Dude,
place a little bit, you know.
dude, I can't even get over this. For April Fools on Instagram, Earthquaker Devices posted some shit about how, you know how people request those pedal knobs that are like taller so that you can like put them with
Yeah.
your foot and stuff. They're like, since you all asked, and they Photoshop this thing where it's like a pedal and then a knob that is so tall it reaches like the head of this old man who's playing like a Stratocaster, and it says, and he's smiling and he's got a thumbs up, and it says like blues lawyer approved. And I thought that was the most insane roast I've ever seen
100%.
of a company about its own customers. And
They're
I
like,
was
we don't
like,
care. We don't care. You're
goes
gonna.
to Earthquaker Devices, puts all items in my shopping cart.
That's awesome. I saw that same post and I was just like, I just like I like read all the comments like or most of the comments just because I just thought like, man, are you really gonna get like they're posting it on April Fools? What do you expect? Like yeah,
Yeah.
like you really expect them to go out of their way to go like,
I know. Some of those guys deserve to be made fun
oh my god,
of.
that's yeah, it's like
I've, I've spent enough time on pedal reviewer YouTube to know that,
that's like the
some of those guys are nice people.
it's that's like the what was it? I think it's like Chibi San or something like that, where they like make fun of like they're just like they have like the weird like adverts for like they're like they're like the this guitar and it's like this like insane like thing. It's just like out. It's like the craziest thing you could think of.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just like, it feels like BuzzFeed for guitar players, which I mean, get your money. Like, if you want to do like that kind of clickbait and like you're a big company, you just want the clicks, it's fine. Like, but sometimes I just see like random independent pedal YouTubers doing the exact same thing that all the like big brands are doing. I was like, so what's the difference? You also have the same pedal that Sweetwater Sound has. It's just that you have a shittier mic and like a dirtier guitar. You can't even hear it. You're playing worse versions of the blues licks. The same the same blues licks.
Oh
There are
man.
exceptions though. I do follow some people on Instagram who do like cool like abstract pedal reviews. I can't remember. Oh, I remember the name of the band. And so I watched you from afar.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I watched you from afar open for I think Maps and Atlases in Sacramento, um, something like that. Incredible show. What was I talking about?
You're just talking about like troll guitar pedals and like all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of that stuff because it's like I reviewed the Miku soft pedal, and it's like actually it's like a weird pedal. And I'd never heard it. And I probably would never spend $200 on a Miku soft pedal. That doesn't mean nobody should buy it for me because I or
Same. Yeah.
I
If you
really
want to
use it.
buy that for me, that'd be great. Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like it's better for those like oddball stuff where it's like a really ridiculously boutique pedal or a pedal that does nothing useful for a musician, but sounds cool, and you can like use it like yeah, do a whole series of pedal content on it. I don't care. But if it's just like basically a rehoused like Alibaba fuzz pedal that you made like super shiny and glittery and put like Germanium transistors in,
I can
that
feel
doesn't mean it's good.
I can feel the keyboard warriors at work right now on they're like cracking their
Good,
fingers. They're getting ready to
good.
they're ready to type away. You know.
Come at me.
Listen, hey, listen. I'm all about that too, you know.
Show,
Jokes
show me
jokes are
y'all's
jokes. Show your
show me
face.
y'all's PCB designs if you really want the smoke.
Here we go. Fernando, next question is if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
Damn. Uh, that's pretty rough, man.
It's a
I
month.
can never, I can never choose. I mean, yeah, a month.
That's
I
doable.
mean, I would end up honestly if I was trapped on a desert island, I would definitely end up making my own instruments out of like tree bark and
Fair.
uh,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so I would definitely be making my own music. I just wouldn't be able to record it. Uh, I don't know. It would have to be. I'm just glancing at my Bible. It might be Burial's Untrue.
Oh yeah.
It could be also Mars Volta, The Last of the Crematorium.
Oh, that's fantastic record for sure.
It would be whichever one of those two I could grab faster.
Awesome. And the last thing, Fernando, tell them about Shoefinger. Obviously, where you can find you at on social media, what you have coming up, and anything else you'd like to plug, talk about, talk shit about, roast, whatever.
Well, yeah, I have Instagram at Shoefinger, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. I'm not sure in charge of it, so I'm sure it's done very well. I have a new single that is not completely mixed and mastered, but done, done. That will be out within the next week or so
Very
as
cool.
of this video. And then I'm expecting to have a whole EP at least by summer being late June.
There we go. Well, go check out Shoefingers. I want to give a shout outs again to Fruity Posting. Love that chat. Go check out all the go check all those people out. They're very talented people. Not like myself, but go check them out.
I disagree, my
That's
God.
why I go talk about everybody else that's talented on there. So and then I look at how I play and I'm like, oh boy, that's very good. But seriously, Fernando is writing some incredible music, so please go check out his stuff. I'll leave links in the description. Go check out all of his stuff on YouTube. I swear to God, you probably could finish it in like 30 minutes, probably, give or take, because it's that they like between that 30-second and a minute mark. So I
Dude,
feel like
it's the way to go.
it's the way to
I was
go.
a child. I was a child of the SoundCloud era. Every
That's
song
true.
that I write has to be under 2 minutes.
Well, go check it out because it's
My biggest idol was pre-Trump's Lil Pump.
that's okay. Okay, I feel that. I feel that. But go check out Shoefingers. Very good stuff. If you want to hear him do that just insane collab with Thundercat, Covet, Aaron Marshall of Intervals, myself. No, I'm
Wait,
kidding.
yeah,
Um,
you can hear it. Is wait,
go check it out.
and keep waiting.
And if you enjoy this interview, share, like, and subscribe. I do feel like I just feel like a YouTuber when I say that, which I'm not by any means. But if you'd like the content, a like and a share would be much appreciated. And huge thanks to Fernando of Shoefinger for coming on tonight.
No problem.